All right, Tuesday, September 13th. This is the meeting of the Finance Committee. With me are Alderman, Council President Tom Duane, Alderman Slottick, Alderman myself, and Alderman Sawyer. Can you get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Can you get a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And item number 3, approval of the minutes of the Finance Committee from
Move
August
approval.
9th.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and item 4, consideration with possible action on the request by City Assessor Russ Schwant to approve settlement agreement for 201 West Walnut Street.
So I do have my co-chamber here, however, included in your packet was a determination by the Department of Revenue for year ending tax year 2014. They opted to value the property at $539,000, which is a reduction of $805,000 to this property for 2014. So with that being said, we do need to revalue the property, we do need to pay it out, but since it was over $10,000, we wanted to make sure that the Finance Committee was aware of this.
Question.
Alderman Slottick?
Is there an avenue or justification for us to challenge this? I mean, that's an awfully big difference.
It is a big difference. Unfortunately, I spoke to Mike earlier today that we believe that we had a pretty good case. Department of Revenue saw it a little bit differently, opted to reduce this property down to that $539 value. And I've seen the property it was in foreclosure, it was sold, and the property that it sold for was right around that $530,000 value is what the purchaser purchased it for. This is only, Mike has told me that this is for 1 year, and that this is a property that Mike is keeping an eye on. So it is based on the rents that it collects, and we will be gathering that information to take a look at that value each year.
So this is a refund for 2015s, so will it be reassessed prior to 2016, or is this going to be for 16 and 17, and then in 2018 we'd have a reassessed value?
It's for 2016, we'll take a look at it for 17.
Okay.
It starts January 1st to that.
Is there a chance that could go up then?
Yeah, they could,
Okay.
that's depending on what they do with it.
All right.
Okay, I have a motion for approval,
So moved.
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Report of the purchasing manager, item A. Consideration with possible action on the request approval to award a 3-year contract for Microsoft Enterprise Agreement to CDWG for $307,662. I'm going to read these all in, and then we'll just take them. Item B, consideration of possible action on the request approval to award a 3-year contract for debt collection services to Finance Systems of Green Bay, Inc. for an estimated cost of $90,000, $30,000 annually, with 1 2-year renewal option. Item C, consideration of possible action on the request approval to award a contract for the demolition of a building at 1200 Doty Street to Best Enterprises LLC for $17,425. And item D, report the purchase of 12 used vehicles for the school resource officers from Bergstrom Automotive, 2 vehicles for $24,418, and Chrysler World, 10 vehicles for $127,540 total. All right. I guess item A first.
Item A, Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. The city pays for license fees for every desktop unit or every computer that uses Microsoft products, so there are about 500 of them. So we put this out for bid. It is available off the state contract. We received 2 bids, CDW Government and Endpoint Technologies. We also compared it. There's a second, CDW is on the state contract. There's a second vendor on the state contract, SHI. And so we looked at their state contract price, even though they didn't submit a bid. And they came in a little over $2,000 higher than CDWG. So we're recommending the award to CDWG as the low bidder.
Move to approve for discussion.
I got a second for discussion.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion and a second for discussion. Alderman Slide.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rick, if I'm reading this right, you sent this out to 13 vendors, and we only got bids from 2? Did that surprise you?
No, because I'm not that close to it, the buyers did, but the pricing for Microsoft Enterprise is very, very tight. And CDW works on a lower markup than SHI, who's on a state contract, so it's not surprising. Last time we put it out for bid, we had 3 responses. This time SHI didn't respond.
Mike, did you have something you want to add?
The state already does the they already send it out, the contract for everybody. They kind of do our work before us. So that, and the 2 that won that were SHI and CDW. So nobody really responds because they've already lost the initial bid from the state.
I see.
We take the power of the state buying and get the price, the best price we can.
But in this case, the one we're going to award this to is not the state contract, right?
They are on the state contract,
But
and they
came
did
in-
submit
but they bid
pricing.
underneath it.
No, they did not bid underneath it, they bid,
I'm sorry.
state contract pricing was my understanding, Mike, CDWG.
Yep.
They just submitted a formal response to our RFQ.
Okay.
There was another state contract that
But
was
you
2,000
mentioned-
higher.
You mentioned another state bidder that was higher?
Yeah, a company called SHI is also awarded Microsoft Enterprise Agreement through the state, but their markup structure is slightly higher. It's a difference of about, I think, 0.45%.
Okay,
So-
I have no more questions.
All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. All right, we'll go to item B.
This contract is for debt collection for the city. Most of that is for unpaid EMS claims that are billed out by our contractor for emergency services. And what the initial contractor is unable to collect through traditional insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid, the city turns over to a debt collection agency. And so we put those services out for bid, and we're recommending an award to the bidder that has the most value. And I'll just explain that. We looked at a couple of metrics. One is the fee that the debt collection agency is going to charge, and then also with their recovery rates. So, the combination, some of the companies don't collect a high percentage, but they charge low fees. We looked at both.
Question?
Yes.
Where does the recovery rate information come from?
It came from the vendors, okay, and also from the vendors' references. So they had to provide a recovery rate, and we were able to. What we did is we received all of the responses, and then we reviewed it with finance department. We selected the 2 highest scoring responses, if you will. We invited both of them in for interviews. We asked them questions regarding how they arrived at their collection rates, et cetera. And we were satisfied that Finance Systems of Green Bay, although, well, number one, we reduced their fee from 33 1/3% to 15, so had a big win for the city there. And they also had a higher collection rate.
What do you mean, we reduced their fee from 33%?
Through this bidding process, they were the incumbent vendor. They had been charging the city 33 1/3% as a collection fee. It is now 15%.
So if they're the incumbent vendor, are we satisfied that their 31% recovery rate that they put in their bid is legitimate? Is that what they've been providing?
They've been providing something less than that, is close to that. We are going to write into our agreement that's what they told us they'd collect, that's going to be our expectation, and then we'll review their performance on an annual basis.
Okay. Now, I was surprised. It looked to me like the recovery rate is a big driver of the award on this thing. And I was surprised at the differences. So you've got two vendors that are up around 30%, and then the other 4 are all 20% or less. Is that kind of your understanding of that industry, that there's people that are 50% better recovery than the bulk of them?
And I don't know if Diana has any more insight to that than I do. Some of these companies, a lot of these collections, there are two areas that are collected. One is the EMS billings. And then the other one is the delinquent taxes.
Delinquent
Real
versus property.
property taxes, real property taxes. So I believe the people that specialize in one versus the other may affect those recovery rates. I lost my train of thought. Anything you want to add to that, Diane?
No, that is true. And some of these other ones, as Diane noted below, some of them had very little experience with EMS, and that is the majority of the money that we send them on an annual basis. We send them about $200,000 worth of collections. And I don't know, 80–90% of it is EMS, and then we have some delinquent personal property that we'll send them. So we looked at and focused in on the vendors who had the most EMS experience. So I think part of that is that some of those, maybe the EMS is slightly easier to collect, maybe because it's a little more current. Not sure of the reasoning for that.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Yep, Alderman Dwayne.
Yeah, Diane, I was gonna ask you a question on that regards. In the last couple of years, what percentage have we been retrieving? Like, you say we put out about 200,000? How much have we actually gotten back from
Right,
these
through finance
companies?
systems, and they have been encumbered, they've been encumbered for many, many years. When we went back and annually, it looks like it's closer to 28%. When they brought in and on their quote, they put in 31%. They said that was for all their book of business. They weren't giving the, because when they gave the quote, because that's just like all the rest of them, they gave you the number for what they consider their book of business. So they're claiming that their book of business does 31% recovery. When we look at ours, it looks like about 28% recovery, our actual numbers.
Well, what I'm asking for, if we're gonna be giving them $30,000 a year, do they averagely per year collect more than that? I mean, does it cover our cost?
Yes, yes. See-
Yeah, the number that's on here is, if they, we expect them to collect an average of $200,000, 201, and 170,000 of that will come back to the city.
And my
Right,
other question
I was
is-
wrong, I said that wrong. We said much more dollars to them on an annual basis. They collect about $200,000. They keep, in the past, they used to keep 33%.
Well,
now
that's
they're
what when I read
keeping
it,
15%.
yeah, I read that, and I was thinking that doesn't match. That's why I was asking,
Right.
because it
So-
was lower
I
than,
apologize,
that's why I was confused.
yeah, I look at this a little different. They look at it as a fee. This is money that is delinquent, and we'd either have to hire somebody to try to chase these delinquents, or we send it out to them.
Yeah.
And then these are the dollars in which they recover for us. They take a portion of the fee. So we get back 80, now we're gonna get back 85% of everything that they collect for us, and then they'll take a 15% fee off the top.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
I've got one more question for
Yeah,
Alderman
yeah.
Slayer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Diane, I was gonna ask you as well, is the breakdown of these debts, if you will, the delinquent taxes, or what else are we collecting on? I mean, I suppose there's contracts that are, what does it break down to?
For the most part, it's EMS and delinquent personal property taxes.
That's the majority.
One of our collection methods is the tax roll. So many of our delinquent invoices go on our tax roll, and then we collect it through the property tax
So
collection process.
That
So
it's
that's
reflected there.
That's one of our go-to areas. If there's, this is our last effort, per
Okay.
se, that's when we send to collections. But if it's on the property itself, then it goes on to the tax.
Well,
We
you-
also will take the state of, or the TRIP program, tax intercept program. That is another way we'll we try to recover money.
Well, I know that's the last resort, as you have said, but I was just wondering what other systems drive that? You know, I mean, delinquent taxes, are there other,
Delinquent personal property tax.
is that usually the majority of that?
EMS is the majority of what we
Majority.
send to collection.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all.
I've got a motion to approve, Alderman Dwayne,
I'll second.
and I've got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that is approved. Item C.
I'll make a motion to approve C. That's for demolition.
I got one question on that.
We get a second for discussion?
I'll
Mark?
second.
We got a second for
Okay.
discussion. Go ahead, Alderman Dwyer.
All right, I just want to make sure that this is noted on other agenda, like the HPC. You know, I know inspection usually will go through something like this, but I just want to make sure that it is listed on the Historic Preservation Commission agenda, if you will. So that's my only request.
And we know it'll be done right, because it's a block from Gary Creaser. You'll be there every day.
That's
I got just a question on this now. This is being paid for with neighborhood enhancement funds?
Yes. My understanding is that the property on Doty Street suffered extreme water damage. It can't be rehabbed economically by a contractor, so the department's plan is to demolish that property and convert it into 2 single-home pieces of property for single-family dwellings.
So is the property, who owns the property?
I just wrote that note down to myself,
Yeah.
so I will talk, I don't know if the redevelopment authority owns those properties.
Okay,
If we do own them, then we will go ahead and charge the respective departments, whether it's inspection or neighborhood enhancements. If we don't own the properties, and it was authorized through the inspection department, and we have authorization to go ahead and do the demonstration, these will go on the tax roll on the property owner. So
Okay.
hopefully we collect it. If we don't, it will end up coming back to us, but we do make sure that we place these on the property owner, similar to what we did with the Van Buren property.
okay. I was just curious because we put $1.5 million into that enhancement fund
Yeah.
for these
For
types
this.
of things. So I just wanted to make sure that something good was
Great.
going to go there to get back on the
I
tax
will,
roll.
in the minutes, and I'll try to send you an email too, but I'll find out who owns the properties.
Great.
If we own them, we'll just charge these respective funds.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have no more questions. Anybody else?
Nope, you made a motion, I would make I'd second that, just so that it is listed on HPC, if we could do that in the motion, just to
Okay.
make sure that it's,
Motion and a second to approve the item and to notate it for the HPC.
yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. None opposed.
Move to approve D.
Second.
Item D was the purchase of the automobile vehicles. We have a
Not really
motion.
approving or receiving and placing on.
Yeah,
That's what
it's just
it is.
reporting the purchase of,
It's just a
so.
report.
All right. That sounds good. Is there anything special about that you need to report?
No.
All right. Sounds great. We got a
Over
motion to
100
receive that.
vehicles, so-
Thanks, chief.
Do we do all in favor on that one?
Yes,
Yes.
all in favor? Aye.
Okay. Unanimous.
Go get some rest.
Yeah, all right.
All right, item number 6. Consideration with possible action on the request by the finance director to discuss Brown County Treasurer's proposal to charge 85 cents per parcel to print the city's tax bills.
Yeah, so I just want to bring this forward. This is a proposal that went before the administrative committee last week. It was approved to move forward with the treasurer's proposal to go ahead and charge each municipality the charge to print our tax bills. Very disappointed. Obviously, we all work very hard. You know, the city assessor's office actually assesses the property. And I'm just hoping that perhaps through your channels that you might be able to talk to some of the Brown County supervisors and
One right here.
thank you, Alderman Dwayne, I really would appreciate your help,
Mhm.
but reach out and talk to you, because it really is just a cost shift. It's a cost shifting from Brown County to all the taxing municipal governments, or to all of the municipal governments, I should say, whether it's to Pier, so they plan on doing this to each and every one of
Move to
them.
deny.
Well, I would, well, you have to do that at Brown County.
I will.
So
It's
what
just
is-
with consideration.
What is the
Yes.
possible action then
Yeah,
that
that
is
was
written
Hopefully
into the
receive
motion?
and place on file, but hopefully you take action as far as reaching out to your peers.
Well, it says more of a statement if we deny it.
Could we make a motion here to draft resolution opposing this? I mean, is that something we can do and get it onto
Vanessa?
a?
Yes. Mhm.
I mean, I would propose, I'm not gonna make that motion here. If the committee chooses to do that, then we can move forward with that. But at least then it kind of gets it into the public eye and it gets it onto a council
Yeah.
agenda where all 12 of us
I'm
will
not
see
on
it.
administration, I used to be, but I would have never voted for it, but they already know how he feels.
Yeah, Rick Shadwell was he was against this proposal, and he brought it forward and gave us a little bit more
Yes.
information about it. So he was our champion there. Unfortunately, it did still pass 3-2. So I would appreciate your help. Thank you. So
Alderman Slidek?
Don, when is this scheduled to go before the full county board?
perhaps, when do you meet next? Is it this Tuesday? Next
After,
next
after our next meeting. So when's our Tuesday?
Next Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So next
Okay.
I
Wednesday.
just wanted to make sure, because if we're gonna do a resolution opposing this,
Yeah.
it's not gonna get through the council until next Tuesday.
Right,
Good
Or
point.
you don't meet before then?
no,
Okay,
we meet day after.
all right.
So is that something that perhaps if we do pass the resolution, that Alderman Dwayne and Senator Nicholson could bring forward then at the?
Well, I'll bring it
You
forward.
can make a communication at council if you be.
Okay. So your request is to draft a resolution?
If the committee so chooses.
Yep.
Right. I just had a quick question. Dawn, I was wondering on this, when they said 85, 85 cents per parcel, is this equal for all the different municipalities, all the way across the board? Okay. In the past,
And
what,
it's personal property tax, it doesn't matter if it's $15 for a personal
okay,
property tax.
in the past,
or-
what was it? I mean, in the past, was there a number? that-
We worked cooperatively with Brown County to create our tax bills. Obviously, we actually give them the basis, we give them the assessed value, we don't charge them for that. So we work cooperatively with Brown County to create our tax bills, and this really, I see it as a tax shift.
Right, and what, offhand, what would that cost be, for the entire county? Is there a number?
I want to say it's $103,000.
Okay, and in the past,
$103,000
the county would take care of that, and now it's being divvied up equally on.
Yes, we always handled our mailing, they just generated the tax bills.
Yep.
So, in the past, they have generated the tax bills, but again, all of the communities are working, we pay for our assessors to create the basis, to create the tax bills. We all benefit
We're
from
doing
the
the
tax
work,
bills.
we're doing the work, and they're,
Right.
yeah, it doesn't seem
And we all
correct.
benefit from the tax bills. I mean, they have a levy on the tax bills, so do the school district, so does NWTC, and so on, so.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
Alderman Sonic?
One additional question. I thought in your letter, you made the point pretty clear that they're going to place these costs on the municipalities.
Yes.
But the municipalities are not the only entities, of course, that are benefiting from tax collection. So when you raise that point, how do they respond? What is their argument to put this all on municipalities and not on school districts, not on NWTC, not on the county itself, which
Right.
collects its taxes by the same mechanism?
Well, I did have the law department research it for me, just to that point. And at this point, in the state statute, the taxing district, which is City of Green Bay, and a municipality is the taxing district, is responsible for generating the tax bills and printing them and so on. We can delegate that duty, whereas Brown County, NWTC, School District, and the state of Wisconsin are considered jurisdictions, and they are not necessarily responsible for it. In speaking with Attorney Joanne, she stated, it's silent whether or not we can charge back, but we probably can't charge that back, that cost. So it's really a cost shift from Brown County. We were working cooperatively, and
So it sounds like the state statutes in this case are on the county side.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Steuer?
Thank you. Don, another question. As far as, okay, what did you say it was, 103,000 for the county? If we did our own tax bill, any idea what that would cost?
No, this is a proposal that they are bringing forward to their admin committee, and I'm guessing this charge would not happen until the tax bills are generated in December of 2017.
Okay.
I didn't, for taxes collected for 2018, I did not plan on putting this in our budget for 2017 because it's really for 2018. So that would give me some time to research some alternatives, whether or not we can create our own tax bills. There are things that are coming down from the state, such as referendums that need to be on the tax bill. So those are areas that I need to explore more, and whether or not we can actually
So
generate our own tax.
we haven't done this as of yet, because the
No.
county took care of
As
that.
long as I've been here, the county has always generated our tax bills. We work cooperatively, they never charge us, we always reimburse them for mailing. And so this is the first statutorily, the treasurer said they can do this, and I spoke to Supervisor Shadwell. I said, whether you can or you should are two different things.
Right.
We'd like to work cooperatively with them.
Okay, thank you, Don.
Alderman Dwayne?
Yeah, I just want to put something in the record. The last 2 years, probably 3 years, Executive Troy Streckenbach has done everything he could and can to put the burden back on other municipalities on many different issues. We've had it in the past here with our own city clerk's office with tags and stuff like this, and she's doing everything she can to push as much as she can on different municipalities. A lot of things have failed, but a couple things have gone through, and it's not going to stop. So we're expected to see more of this in the county. We've been able to stop a lot of what he's doing, but this is coming from the top, and it's ridiculous that some of the stuff he's doing. And I just want that on record, that it's sad that somebody, I mean, Mayor, how much do we give to, about 25 million?
Yes.
25 million that we already give to the county on for many different,
That's the levy.
yeah.
Village value levy.
and so, I'm just saying, it won't stop at just this, but it's coming from the top and it's coming from the clerk's office to do, they want to lower their budgets and they're putting a burden on all the municipalities.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm not so concerned about 85 cents, but what I am concerned about is to continue seeing these rising costs like we're seeing in the clerk's office. Last year, for 2016 to 2017, we're seeing a 50% increase in the cost that the clerk's office is going to transfer to the city governments and village governments. So this is just a starting point. I can only say that this is going to go up, and that's my concern. Thank you.
Tom had a motion, I believe.
Well, mine was to deny, but you preferred receive and place on file. I'd rather be
No.
affirmative.
I think the motion was to
Prepare a resolution.
have staff
Yep.
prepare a resolution opposing this for the council
Okay,
for next week.
I'll make that
So that can be
motion.
presented
I would
to the
second
county
that.
board.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. At the committee's whim, items 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, after speaking with the alderperson that made those motions, he asked us for informational only. I would entertain a motion to take all
Motion
those
receive-
together.
Make motion to take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as one.
And I would second.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Motion to receive and
motion-
place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. And we're at the report of the finance director.
Thank you. Just some of the things that I want to bring to your attention are some dates. So we plan on issuing the mayor's budget to the, at the common council meeting. We'll be,
Yeah, you sent them to us.
oh,
didn't you?
thank you, okay.
I think we
Yeah,
have time.
the,
So
sales
October
thing sent.
18th, and then October 25th, we'll have some additional information from the state of Wisconsin. Estimates will be used for the preliminary book. Plan on meeting November 1st of 2016 in the Joint Personnel Finance Committee to act on the mayor's executive budget, and then November 7th, the public hearing on the city's 2017 budget, with the final budget going to print around December 20th, once we have those values from Green Bay Metropolitan Sewage District and a sanitary, so that's why we're delayed a little bit. And then we'll be distributing it thereafter.
Alderman Steuer, any question on that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Dawn, I was going to ask on this. I know that the mayor, the administration, et cetera, they're putting the budget together, but I was just wondering if there are requests, is there a deadline for anything coming to departments or coming to the administration from outside? Is there anything that we can mention on that, or is this something that is a moot point?
Right now, it's typically how it works. We have the departments putting together the budget for those, you know, obviously if you had certain things, if you met with your departments to add those, otherwise they would be received at, if you can give them to me before the joint meeting, so if you needed me to do any costing or anything like that, that'd be really helpful, so we're not doing it on the fly. And we have
Right.
that.
You already received everybody's budget.
Department's budget. We're
Yes,
still
Departments, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying if
Right.
there,
But,
we as alders there might be some issues or things out there that we think are important.
Just bring forward as a communication to the
Right.
finance committee.
Right,
Just
at
do
the Joint
that.
Personnel Finance Committee. I just want you to know at this point, we are going to continue to be very restricted on the expense side.
Right.
And we're restricted to $1.2 million. That's it. That's a preliminary number, but I don't think it's really gonna change, and that's on the expenditure restraint across the board. Expenses
because
can only
of-
go up $1.2
I think
million
you have to
total.
explain that. So 1.2 million.
That's
We
it.
can go up to that point.
Right.
Dawn, could you put a letter in everybody's box, just to let them know, make sure you have those requests in if you have some, that, you know.
If something
Okay.
does come
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, just put, you know, that way you know, so,
Just in case.
yeah.
Just an update on the excess sales tax. Believe it or not, I've not received any applications yet. So I'm hoping that people don't turn them all in to me at 3:45 next Friday.
11th hour.
on-
How
on the
how long are
23rd.
those, you know, I haven't looked at the form yet, because there's a few groups.
It's not that many,
It's
it's not that long.
It's
No,
not
it's
that
not that long. So I haven't received any, so I'm hoping that if any alders receive anything, please forward them on to me or the
Right.
mayor's office, I'll let them know.
I
And
know we
also-
can do it, just ask me.
Yeah, so please make sure that you forward them to me. There has been discussions, as far as direction is concerned on, we're not exactly sure. If you talk to Joe Citizen, they think of infrastructure as streets, sanitary and storm sewers. And whereas I think maybe some of the common council members are using it interchangeably with maybe fixed assets or capital assets like you know, the wildlife sanctuary expansion. So we do need some clarification on that, and I'm not sure how to, I did speak to this point with Alderman Dorf and Alderman Moore
Right.
earlier today. So I
And we
don't know if
disagreed.
Yeah, I did ask, I
Alderperson
did put a communication in, or I did send one to Chris
Oh.
Kowski, so that we could, meet as a committee of a whole, on
Next Tuesday?
Tuesday, and come up with a definition. We need guidance.
Right, because the Parks Department, you know, they have a couple with Bay Beach and Wildlife
Right.
Sanctuary. Where does it go? Does it go into the application process, or is it going to go into the $2.8 million that was set aside for infrastructure? So there's some concern there, and so we do need that defined.
So I was gonna say.
I think there should be a difference between what they do at Bay Beach and what they do for us.
Well,
this
you know,
whole-
part of it
Yeah.
is like economic development though too, and that's such a broad-based thing.
Right.
And you could say that's for infrastructure, but yet it's improving the value, which is bringing more money and that type of thing.
Well,
That
and
would
the-
be really infrastructure. I mean, if you, I looked up the
Right.
definition in the Webster Dictionary, and infrastructure is your basis that provides services such as sanitary sewer, storm sewer,
Right.
streets
That's
to.
why
Let's not get in trouble, because that's not.
No,
on the agenda.
I
Right.
don't.
That's
why-
fine, yeah.
That's why if you say infrastructure and capital assets,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But, you know, people are using interchangeably, and we don't know how you want to define it, and it's your choice.
Yeah.
We don't-
So how will we do that?
We'll do that as a
We'll do
committee of the
that as
whole.
a
at
committee of the
council.
whole.
At council? All right.
Yeah.
Then Barb will be happy.
Anything further?
I will be happy.
She's always happy.
You
I've
are.
never seen her not smiling.
That is all I have.
All right.
All right?
Motion to
Motion.
adjourn. A motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
And we've got a second. And before we adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. Before we adjourn, Director Fuller, could you just note that Alderman Nennig and Alderperson Dorf were in attendance at the meetings tonight?
Yes, I always try to make sure that the alders are in our
Mhm.
minutes,
Yes.
Thank you.
That's so
that are
important.
present.
That is.
Thank you.
All right, and motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.